Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play, or rather, a brand new old Let's Play. Let's play Batman Returns for the Super Nintendo for a third time. And the reason I'm doing this is, I've been doing Let's Plays for 10 years now. And this is the very first one that I started with way early on in 2013. And when I did this, I had a I used at that time to have a sizable following on game trailers until that site, as I knew it, pretty much died in June of 2012. And at that point, I had just been watching other people's Let's Plays for a little while and using the blog that I had on game trailers to show those games and those Let's Plays off. And it started out with just showing the games off, but then to add more content, I made more of my own self-made walkthroughs and strategy guides to give people more things to read. And eventually, I wanted to make my own Let's Plays. And it led to me playing this game on Mania pretty early in 2013. And while the gameplay on it was really good, the commentary was very, very rough. I did do a redo of sorts in 2014, and while the commentary was just a little bit better, a little more refined, I didn't do practice runs for that run, and therefore I actually used a continue on that run compared to the first one. And because of that, I feel like I have some unfinished business. So to celebrate 10 years of making Let's Plays, I'm going to do this one more time. We're going to set it on Mania, and we're going to set the lives on 7, and I'm going to keep the key configuration, the button configuration, on Type A. In this game, you basically run around playing as Batman in Final Fight style sequences. You get to move around in 8 directions with the D-pad, and you get to beat people up because you're Batman. What else is there to say? Aside from the D-pad moving you around, assuming you're using the default Type A, Y lets you attack, which means you can punch people. B lets you jump. Pressing Y and B together lets you perform a special attack, which can knock enemies back, but also cost you a little bit of your health. A lets you use an item, and you can select between items with the select button. That can't be changed. The bat test tube can be used with the X button, and then there is the guard button, which is left and L and R at the top of the controller. You need to hold down L or R and then press X to use the bat test tube. The bat test tube is a screen clearing item that gets rid of all on-screen enemies and can even damage bosses. And you want to make sure that you use them rather well because there's only so many of them you can get your hands on. So here I am again, trying to beat this game on Mania, trying to beat this game with 7 lives, of course, and hoping to get a 1 credit clear, like I did all those years ago. This is the only way I'm going to do it, because that's how I did it back then. All that can be said is that it's time to play this game. Yes, I threw a batarang at a guy on a bike because I could. Anyway, at the top left, you have your bat test tube count. You only have 3, but you can find more. every once in a while. And below that is your lives count, and your health. To the right of that, in the center, is your currently equipped item. Right now it's the batarang, but I can switch to the grappling hook in these Final Fight style segments if I want. With select, I just stick to the batarangs. And to the right of that is your current score, as well as the enemy's health bar of the current enemy that you're fighting. You do get extra lives out of points. I believe you get your first one at 50,000 points, and I believe you get you get the rest of your extra lives every 100,000 after that. I think that's how it works. I'm pretty sure that the game is going to tell me as we do this. But anyway, let's do this. And we got some Sin Clowns, the first enemies that we see in the game. I take care when finding these guys. And I also kind of min-max my point gain so that way I get the most points off of these guys. So what I like to do is go up to a clown after stunning them with the batarang. I do 2 punches and a knee, Y. Then I walk into them to grab them, press Y twice for 2 headbutts, and then forward or back plus Y to do the throw. You can stun enemies with the batarang. You can't kill them, though you can knock some enemies down with it. And unlike earlier difficulties, e.g. the special, you don't get as much stun time on enemies with the batarang on Mania. So you have to be quick to get to the enemy and hopefully not get hit while you're trying to hit the enemy yourself. And because of that, I usually go to my go-to combo, which is 2 punches and a knee, followed by the grab, followed by the headbutts, followed by the throw, which I mentioned earlier. You do have a 4-hit standing combo, which ends with a roundhouse kick, the 2 punches, the knee, and the roundhouse kick. You can grab enemies and then do 2 knees and the kick, though you can also throw them. And what else is there to mention? Yes, you can throw batarangs at enemies with the A button. I'm pretty sure that was mentioned earlier, but I should mention that just to be safe. Anyway, let's see what else we can do. I wanted to throw a batarang at that biker, and I forgot all about him. But I didn't forget about him, though. It should be mentioned that you'll be fighting as many as 3 enemies at once. So you'll want to be very careful how you do things. As you do things. And there's going to be one more clown right here. And he shows up, but we can throw a batarang at him. Batarang will usually kill a biker, so you can hit them with other attacks. And new enemy here, the Bazooka Clown. The Bazooka Clown can be really nasty. While they can accidentally hit their own men, they can also hit you and pack a punch too. And by destroying that biker, I also caused this Bazooka Clown to show up too. And now that he's the only one left, I might as well go ahead and do the combo of destruction there. Windows. In case there are windows in the background, like the one we're looking at right here, you can hold up and press Y to throw the enemy into the window. I believe you get 300 points for throwing the enemy into a background element, as opposed to just 200 for slamming them onto the ground. This can be useful in case you want to get points for extra lives. Keep that in mind. And of course, you can also give enemies a bad day this way too. And if you like doing it very, very much, you can also throw enemies in the glass and break the glass. If you're wondering how I'm doing that one attack where I just do that, you hold down and press Y. There is a kick that you can do, but I recommend doing the whole crossbody thing because you can actually defeat enemies. Or rather, not really. Well, you can do one, you can do more damage, and two, you can actually knock them down. And now we got the fire clowns. These guys are a pain because of the amount of range that they have. I mean, they can hit you from further away than you would think. Either with their pitchfork or with their flame breath, which makes them super annoying. And I just broke a whole bunch of glass. And now to do that. And now we're going to meet the fat clowns. The fat clowns will leap at you and try to hit you from above. And when you defeat a fat clown, a biker will show up. And if you defeat another enemy from there, you'll get another biker. There are 2 fat clowns and 2 bikers. And now we're in the second part. This second part, you can only move left or right. You can duck by holding down, and you can also attack while ducking. You can also jump by pressing the B button, just like in the Final Fight style segments, and throw batarangs from there. To throw batarangs, all you have to do is just press Y. And you actually have the batarangs equipped in the side-scrolling segments at all times, which means the only equipable item you have on you is the grappling hook, which you can use with A. And you want to be very careful because these guys... Now, the tall clowns, they throw torches at you. If they touch you when they're coming down, they hurt. But if they have already hit the ground, they won't hurt to the touch. So coming down to the ground is bad. Already hit the ground, okay. If they hit the ground, they won't hurt you at all. And I also want to make sure that I beat up the fat clowns as I do all this. Also, you also want to watch your 6 too. Watch your back. And I just got my first life at 50,000 points. I know I'm pausing things to explain things here, but if I don't in this specific case, I'm going to have enemies crawling all over me, and I don't want that. It always helps to keep your distance against the thin clowns. It also helps to throw a lot of batarangs at the fat ones. And pretty soon they'll stop showing up altogether. They stop showing up altogether. We're going to meet our first boss really, really soon. And here's our first boss, the stun gun clown. She screams, we fight. Back away. Make sure you run under this guy. When he jumps, which I'm doing a terrible time with. I can't believe I'm doing this because I can't get this down, and I couldn't do the thing. If you press right and A at that wall, you'll actually take a chunk of the wall out, and you can get the wall to look like this before you get to this cutscene. And for beating this round, we get 5,000 points. I'm not reading these cutscenes because if I remember correctly, I don't think I read these in my original Let's Play. But for beating round 1, we get to know Selena Kyle, the lowly secretary to Master Shrek, and the penguin shows his face. The same disfigured, odd-acting baby who was thrown down into the river and ended up in the zoo, where he was raised by penguins. Yeah, he's got some plans. Scene 2 is battle in the streets of Gotham City. Do I get my test tubes back? I hope I do. I get my test tubes back. Yeah, if you have less than 3 test tubes, you start with 3 test tubes again in the next stage. And in stage 2, we are back at it with the final fight style segments. We're going to be beating up some more members of the Red Triangle Circus Gang. And we will also be meeting some new enemies that way as well, but that will have to wait until the next video. So join me next time, where I try not to foul things up as I go through Gotham City in Scene 2. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!